Hello everyone. Hello, I am back. Let me just straighten up here. Well, I've gotten a lot of comments, a lot of questions. Can I look at this? Can I look at that? Can we review the Mueller report? What does it look like energetically? Can you throw cards? Can you pick the lottery numbers? Not usually, no. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about today is the meditation I did last night, because I want to just document what the Mueller investigation looks like to me, and let's see how accurate I get. So basically, there's a couple things going on, and this is what it looks like. So I'm going to try and be as clear as possible. All right. People are a little confused about what the function of the Mueller report, of what Mueller is trying to do. Mueller is trying to see if there's anything going on, if there's a there. So anytime Mueller finds anything that needs to get investigated, or if he discovers a potential crime, he collects the data, and then that data gets sent to a department of the FBI that then decides whether or not to take on that case. They might have a grand jury sequestered regarding that case. So that is what Robert Mueller's function is. He takes the data, he takes the information, he takes the evidence, he collects it, he convenes a grand jury, and then when they decide there's something there, it then gets shipped off to the FBI, and then they form an investigation around it. The purpose of Mueller is not to complete the work. The purpose of Mueller is not to complete the work or to come to any concrete conclusions. We're not far enough into this investigation to do that. All he's doing is organizing the data, organizing the clues, the information, the evidence, and then putting it into packages and then sending it where the investigation needs to happen. I keep getting that the report he put out was a preliminary report, even though they're saying, no, it's not a preliminary report, it's the actual report. Again, I think people are really missing the point of what Mueller's function is. The report he put out is, and this is why the 4-page memo gave people in the GOP false hope and misinformation. The purpose of the Mueller investigation, again, is to investigate, organize, and package the evidence where then a case is brought regarding that subject. I don't know how else I can explain it. Like, that's the clearest way to explain it. So he put out a report, a very large report, hundreds of pages, about this process. And there are public investigations and there are private investigations. So I want people to really get this as I see it, and then if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But basically, the part that the public is ready to see of all of this packaging, of all of these investigations that have all been farmed out, what Mueller is ready, has enough evidence for the public to see and for Congress to investigate, is obstruction of justice. Actually, I had the notes. We'll go back. Let's go back and review what I said. I said that it would be around obstruction of justice. Here's what we're ready to see publicly: witness tampering, lying to the feds, witness intimidation, bribery, conspiracy to defraud the American voter, and a genuine recklessness and disregard for the office he holds. That's the public. That's going to be the public hearings. Focus on what is going on privately and all these farmed out investigations. Now I'm going to tell you what that is, as it looks energetically. What that is an ongoing criminal investigation which has been going on for years that is following the money. So what Mueller is doing now is he is continuing to follow the money, and people of interest who are hiding money in foreign accounts and laundering money, RICO cases, money that's coming from questionable sources, overseas, bribery, etc., not just from the Russians, but other foreign governments as well. And these bribery schemes where people were targeted that were people of interest by Russia. So, as I had said before, what Russia was doing was they were taking laundered money via the Russian mafia. The Russians were taking laundered money, and then they were doing a couple things with it. One of the things that they were doing is that they were bribing people of interest and giving loans to people of interest. So the money went from questionable sources. From there, it went to accounts like Deutsche Bank, AEB Bank, and then it was reconstituted and used to bribe people of interest. So that money trail is what is the focus of the private investigation that Mueller is personally overseeing now. It's all about the money. It's all about tax evasion. And it's all about finding this missing foreign money and laundering and tax evasion schemes. That's what I have written down. And so, for that reason, it's not a public investigation. I also want to say that when this investigation got started into Russian meddling, the focus of the investigation wasn't Donald Trump, and a lot of people got confused about that. The focus of the investigation was to try and find out how deep the Russians had gotten into our voting rolls, how deep they had gotten into hacking our voting machines, etc., and if any other foreign countries had done something similar. That was the function of the investigation. And along with that investigation, as that investigation continued, they looked at a couple of other things as well. Who in the intelligence agencies were aiding or assisting in this crime? And so those are some of the people that are now coming out, like Manning, was in the intelligence agencies and has now been implicated. Roger Stone is difficult to work with because he pretty much thinks that he's responsible for everything. But Roger Stone is part of that investigation. So they're trying to find out if the deeper investigation, as far as the intelligence agencies are concerned, is who inside the intelligence agencies aided and abetted the Russians. That is and who has been compromised, who is engaged in these foreign money laundering schemes. So those are the two big investigations that are not public knowledge. What we, the public, are ready to see is the obstruction of justice. Does that make sense? Is everybody getting why the confusion and chaos and why? This is what doesn't make sense and why everyone's confused. So the purpose of Mueller is not to complete the investigations and come up with any conclusions. The purpose of Mueller was simply to package the data and say, is there a there, and to help send it off to SDNY and any other organization, federal feds, etc., to continue to build those cases. Okay. Now, moving on, people had asked me if I would look at Barr and what Barr intends to do. I think at this point, most likely what Barr will do is meet privately with the Gang of Eight, and he will debrief them on the actual Mueller report. But I can't imagine that they would be allowed to physically take the documents out of a private sealed hearing if they were going to see the entire Mueller report, because of all of this hidden investigation, which is not public information. So more than likely how it's going to happen is if anyone's going to see the full Mueller report, it will be the Gang of Eight, and it'll be in a closed session, which means that they'll be allowed to go in, no cell phones, nothing, and read the Mueller report for, say, a couple of hours a day for, say, a certain amount of time, and then from there, but they're not allowed to talk to the press about it, they're not allowed to leak it, they're not allowed to take pictures of it. That's the direction we're probably headed in next. But I think that a heavily redacted version of it will be made to the public. So does that help people organize like how I'm seeing it? Again, I could be wrong, but this is how it looks to me. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle now and just to see what's going on with what is Barr's next move, and then we'll go ahead and check on what Mueller's next move is. Boy, is it interesting. All right, let's take a look first at William Barr. What is going on with William Barr? What is going on with William Barr? What is going on with William Barr? We're using my old deck, all straight up, no inversions. Base card, feeling tied up, feeling trapped. He's between a rock and a hard place. Doing his work, mastery, trimming, cutting through. I think that he's getting the Mueller report ready for the public versus the private Mueller report. But he feels like he's between a rock and a hard place because there's a public investigation and there's a private investigation. In terms of what the president is trying to do, he's trying to take the leverage of the public release of Barr's 4-page synopsis and use it to raise as much money as possible for him and his campaign before people get wind of what's actually going on. So he could use it potentially as a way to make a ton of money for him and his campaign, saying no collusion, no collusion, no collusion. But when this all falls apart in 2 or 3 weeks, that's when he's really going to need to have the financial support that to basically pay for all of these legal issues. But as far as Barr is concerned, feels trapped between a rock and a hard place, between what the Dems want, an ongoing investigation, misconstruing or misunderstanding what his 4-page report was about. He was trying to make everybody happy. It clearly stated the president was not exonerated. An 8 of Pentacles comes in as a mastery card, someone who is perfecting their work. That's why I don't see deception here. I see really somebody who's between a rock and a hard place. The eyes will be opened. This is exactly the kind of card you want to see if you're looking at something like an investigation and trying to get the truth out, because she is the bearer of the Torah, the bearer of the light. Ta-or, to bear the light, to be enlightened, to open the eyes. She wears the hat of mastery or the doctoral degree. She's achieved the highest level of education, and she holds a scroll which says Torah, which is the light or knowledge or true wisdom. And this is a card that usually tells us that the truth is coming out. And what crosses the truth, we can see the Devil card. So we're still in conflict with addiction or being holding on to bad habits, being addicted to an unhealthy relationship, a codependent relationship, delusion, false beliefs. False beliefs are keeping us from what is actually happening, what is actually going on. What is above us? The Queen of Cups comes, romantic queen. She brings offerings of peace. She wears the white dress. Often she's depicted as the bride's card if you're looking at a romantic imagery for the Queen of Cups. But she comes bearing gifts or offerings. She's the Queen of Hearts. What sits below the world? I really believe that this is taking on an international feel, in the sense that I feel like now they're starting to look at the connection between people in the United States and these tax evasion schemes. What they're coming out of, the contract, the report, the document, establishing a foundation, the blueprint. This leads me to think that what Mueller did is he created a roadmap for future investigations, and it really again reiterates that this was not a concluded investigation, but rather merely we're looking at the roadmap, the blueprint. And we're coming into, in the future, the judge, Yehudit, steps in, the perfect judge. The Queen of Wands. Her dress, unlike the Queen of Cups, is made of fire or yellow, strong. She holds the staff of authority. The staff traditionally was held by the leader of the tribe, and it symbolized authority, that she was the perfect judge that would reside over the tribe and lay down a just decision. So I think justice is coming. Reason is coming. It's also Nancy Pelosi's card because it's a fire card, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. What's coming in the near future, where we're at right now, heartbreak. Heartbreak. The American people are heartbroken. What's around us? Complete confusion about what is going on. The hope and the fear. New growth, new information coming out. And then the final outcome, work, labor. The work is not over. We're still going forward. The work is still happening. You can see offers still coming in, and then the outcome being 10 of Cups. It always says the same thing when I look at these cards, that some kind of offer is being made. This leads me to think that the obstruction charge, and why we're allowed to see the obstruction charge publicly, is because it could be used theoretically as leverage for an early resignation with immunity for some of the Trump family. This has come up in previous readings also. An offer, love offers, love offers. Love offers. This is all about offering reconciliation. So again, it just keeps pointing to the fact that the investigation is far from over. In fact, it's very active, and that people have misunderstood the function of the Mueller Report. The Mueller Report was simply a roadmap or a blueprint of future investigations, and is not conclusive of any investigation in and of itself. President's not off the hook. So now we're going to go ahead and actually look at Robert Mueller. Last night I checked Robert Mueller, and he was looking at foreign bank accounts, and he was shutting down bank accounts. It was all very exciting. So let's go ahead and we'll look at Robert Mueller's cards now. So yeah, so it looks like the Republicans jumped on the Mueller report, completely intentionally misunderstood it for the purpose of raising funds for what will potentially be Trump's future legal defense. Wow. Because, if they can push this narrative for the next few weeks, then they can use that wind to push their agendas and to re-inject some life into their campaign and the money they're trying to raise. That seems to be their strategy. All right, let's take a look at Robert Mueller. Is everybody having fun again? I would like everyone to be happy. Don't worry, be happy, as they say. All right. What is going on with Robert Mueller? How is his investigation going? How is the Robert Mueller investigation going? Base card, the money, and a crash is coming. I see this all the time when I go into Mueller, into his current investigation. He now is just plugging it. All he did was follow money. Where did this money come from? Where did it go after that? Where was it before that? He's just tracking money, tracking bank accounts. There's a tower coming. Mastery again. This is a great card. I really like the Eight of Pentacles. It shows the master at his work. The master is creating perfection, pounding away at his table. You can see here one of the coins has been rejected because it's not quite perfect. I always think of perfection, the man who's really making an effort to put out the best possible product. Confusion over the work. Again, the work is not done yet, so it's not conclusive yet. You can see here a beautiful Ace of Swords moving in for Robert Mueller, which means that he will be victorious in his quest. I had said that he wants what every prosecutor wants. He wants a full sealed confession from the accused. I still feel that deep down where Robert Mueller is headed is he wants to, if he had his druthers, he would want these people indicted, regardless of whether or not he's the president. You can see here a nice, again, lovers. This is also indicating a clear channel between oneself and one's faith or spirituality. Partnership offers, where he comes from in the past. This is now starting a new phase in the investigation. And some phase comes to an end or is paused. But I like this Ace of Swords moving in. I would say right now that Mueller is not happy with how the public is depicting this or how this got off the rails. It was not the intention of the special counsel to have his findings be used in this manner. I don't think he's happy with how it's publicly being depicted. Those around him want the sun to come out or information to come out regarding the case. The hope and the fear that the work gets completed, that the work is successful. You can see here also, always auspicious in a card chart if you've got double aces or triple aces or even four aces if they're straight up. But you can see here Mueller has two aces straight up, the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Wands, which is quite auspicious. And then the final outcome, as I had said before, and I will say it again, and you saw me shuffle the cards, it's all about how the money was made and harvested. And we can see here again confirmation that the Mueller investigation now is about following the money and seeing how the money has been harvested. And we'll do a clarification. Thieves attempting to run away. They're moving towards the money. The money. And we can see a crash here happening. I'm going to go ahead and predict that Mueller will continue to work on cases, and he will continue to refer them to various different investigative teams, SDNY, and also to the feds, and that it will continue to hone in on money and people who are hiding money and bribes from foreign countries. All right. Be patient, everybody. The cards are very, very interesting, and I really enjoyed reading them today. If you're trying to get in for an appointment this week, yes, I have openings. I am also going to be out of town. I am going on vacation late May and early June. So I'm free for readings before then or after then. But I think we're flying out something like May 20th, and we're coming back around June 6th. So for those dates, I will not be in town. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Be strong, be safe. Don't worry. I assure you everything is just fine. Okay, bye. At least it looks that way to me.